everyone, I'm Alish. And welcome back to the Native Podcast. If you've been enjoying these episodes, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with your friends who are learning English too, because we're building a community of learners who actually speak like real people. Today, we're going to talk about something I think a lot of people secretly feel, this sense that your creative ideas are trapped behind a language barrier. You've got these incredible thoughts, these beautiful ideas, but when you try to express them in English, they come out slow, awkward, or not at all. And honestly, that can feel like your creativity is being held hostage by vocabulary and grammar.
Yeah, and I think that's such a relatable struggle because so many learners think of English as this separate school subject they have to study, instead of something they can live in and use as part of their passions. Imagine if every time you painted, wrote, made music, or even cooked, you were also practicing English without even thinking about it. That's what today's conversation is about, blending your creative life and your language learning, so fluency becomes a side effect of doing what you already love. And trust me, this approach is not just more fun, it's also way more effective than traditional study.
Right, and here's the thing, if you're waking up every day thinking, ugh, I have to study English for an hour, it's no wonder your motivation disappears after a week. But what if you woke up thinking, oh, I can't wait to start my creative project today, and English just naturally happened along the way? That's when you stop fighting the process and start enjoying it. And you don't even have to be an artist in the classic sense. You can be into photography, gardening, designing, singing in the shower, anything can become your English practice space if you set it up that way.
Exactly, and one of my favorite ways to do this is through microhabits. These are tiny, repeatable actions that don't feel like studying. For example, if you're a painter, just narrate what you're doing in English. I'm mixing blue and yellow to make green. I want this to feel bright and warm. If you're a musician, record a quick voice note in English explaining the mood you want for your next song. If you write, journal for 5 minutes in English about what's on your mind before you start your creative session. You'd be amazed how much vocabulary and fluency you gain from these small, daily moments.
And what I love about that is it's completely pressure-free. You're not worrying about being perfect because you're in your creative zone, not your test-taking zone. Plus, you start to realize that English is not a wall between you and your art, it's actually another color in your creative palette. And sometimes it can even inspire new ideas because certain phrases or expressions don't exist in your native language. That's when English stops being a chore and starts being a creative tool.
Yeah, and we can't forget about the role of community here. There are so many free platforms where you can share your work and get feedback from English speakers, whether it's posting your photography captions on Instagram in English, joining a songwriting forum, or uploading your short stories to a writing platform. And the magic is that you're getting real interaction in English, which is so much richer than memorizing random vocabulary lists.
But of course, there's this one big enemy we have to talk about, the inner critic. That voice in your head saying, don't post that, your English isn't good enough, or what if people laugh at my mistakes? I get it, that fear is real, but here's the truth. The more you hide, the slower you grow. Every artist, every creator, every language learner has to go through the awkward stage. The only difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is that the successful ones keep showing up anyway.
Absolutely, and one thing that helps silence that inner critic is reframing mistakes as experiments. Instead of thinking, oh no, I messed up that sentence, think, cool. Now I know a better way to say it next time. When you give yourself permission to experiment, you start enjoying the process. And every small win, like being able to describe your art in English without pausing, becomes a confidence boost that pushes you forward.
And that brings us to sustainability, because this isn't about having one super productive week and then burning out. You want to create a system that works even on low-energy days. That might mean having a simple backup English task for days when you're not feeling creative, like listening to a song and jotting down one line you love, or describing a photo you took. The point is to keep the English connection alive, even in small doses.
Yes, and I'd even say that low-pressure consistency beats intense, inconsistent study every single time. You don't need to move mountains each day, you just need to keep walking. And here's a secret, when you share your creative English journey online, you not only keep yourself accountable, you also inspire others. That creates a feedback loop where you're motivated not just for yourself, but for the people who are learning alongside you.
You know, Oliver, I think a lot of learners underestimate how much creativity can actually speed up language learning. I've seen people who've been stuck at the same level for years suddenly leap forward in months because they started integrating English into their hobbies. It's like their brain stops treating English as foreign and starts treating it as part of their personal identity.
That's so true, and it's almost like tricking your brain in the best way possible. If your brain associates English with something you enjoy, like playing guitar or designing clothes, it stops triggering that this is hard feeling. Instead, English becomes a familiar part of a routine you already love, and that's when you stop resisting the practice.
And another thing, when you work on a creative project in English, you're naturally building emotional connections to the words you use. If you learn the phrase soft light while describing a photograph you took, that phrase sticks way deeper than if you just read it in a vocabulary book. Your brain says, "Oh yeah, I remember exactly how that light looked."
Yeah, and it works for emotional vocabulary too. If you write a poem about feeling hopeful or nostalgic, those words start carrying personal weight for you. You're not just learning definitions, you're attaching them to feelings, and feelings are what make words unforgettable.
One of my favorite exercises is actually voice journaling. You just grab your phone, hit record, and talk about your creative process in English as if you're explaining it to a friend. Don't stop to correct yourself, just let the words flow. Later, you can listen back, notice what sounded good, and maybe even share parts of it online.
Oh, I love that one. And you know what's great? You don't even need to post it publicly if you're not ready. You can keep it private but still feel the benefits of speaking out loud. That's the thing, when you speak in English without overthinking, you start building the habit of thinking in English, which is exactly what breaks that translation barrier.
And for anyone worried that they're not creative enough, forget that. Creativity isn't about being a professional artist. It's about how you approach life. Cooking a new recipe, organizing your desk, choosing your clothes, those can all be creative acts. And if you narrate them or write about them in English, boom, you're learning.
Totally. Creativity is just problem solving with style. If you can make something, change something, or imagine something, you're already creative. And that means you already have a doorway into learning English in a way that's fun and deeply personal. So, no more "I'm not creative" excuses. Okay friends, if you learned something new from this episode, write it down in comments, and that's it for today. See you in next video, bye.